Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Reset Election Series. Starting in the new year of January 2027, President Ojeda is seeing a nationwide disapproval of 28%, which is not good considering that he is 5 points lower than what he won the popular vote by in the 2024 election. His highest approval is amongst third-party voters and independents with a 16% approval. Amongst Democrats, he has an 84% disapproval, and amongst Republicans, he has a 13% disapproval. Looking at the beginning of February, President Ojeda's approval rating has continued to take a dip, this time to 32% disapproval nationwide, with only 28% of the country supporting him, he is becoming one of the most unpopular presidents in the country's history. Homeland Secretary Blue Barletta, after serving in the Ojeda administration and running for a second term as the governor of Pennsylvania to essentially run again, he is resigned from his homeland position to serve as governor in Louisiana. And President Ojeda has named Circuit Judge Michael Chagaris for the Homeland post. And he has announced a Democrat, a more liberal person, a progressive, will be replacing him in his seat. President Ojeda gives his State of the Union address. It is seemed to have been given a fiery response amongst many Americans that, calling out the establishment in both parties, saying things that we need to cut crime in this country is becoming a problem, saying that we need to stand up to foreign countries. He has been given an overall good response to his State of the Union address. Former UK Ambassador Jamie McCord has announced that she will be running for president in 2028. Seemingly, she is the only Republican so far to announce. Actually, she's the only candidate so far to announce. So we are going to see whether she will once again win the Republican nomination. She is stating that Ojeda is a failed president and should have never been elected in the first place and should never have broken the two-party tradition in this country. Here's President Ojeda's approval at the beginning of March of 2027. After the State of the Union address, his approval has bumped back up, and he is now above water, or above his 35% threshold of how much of the popular vote he won, 37% now. A 15% disapproval rating, with his highest approval being amongst third-party and independent voters at 24% approval. His GOP support is at -1 approval or 1% disapproval, so that could bump back up. And his support amongst Democrats at 68% disapproval. We also can note that Michael Chagaris has been confirmed as the Homeland Secretary by the Senate. President Ojeda has signed Puerto Rico statehood into law. Puerto Rico has now become the 51st state. Ojeda says that statehood is very important. We should not be taxing our territories and not giving them any sort of representation in the country. New York Governor Kathy Hochul to run for president for a second time. She is essentially running on the same message as Jamie McCord. Richard Ojeda is a failed president and should not have been elected president or break the two-party tradition, as well as running on a lot of social and key issues that Ojeda has failed to meet, such as criminal justice, and she is also spouting some separationist policy as well, which is kind of hurt her amongst some moderate voters. Former UN ambassador has announced that he will be running for 2028. Tony Blinken, there was a lot of rumors that as to why he resigned from the UN ambassadorship under the Ojeda administration. There were rumors he was going to run for president. However, this now confirms that Tony Blinken will run against Richard Ojeda, or will run against Kathy Hochul in the Democrat primary to run against Ojeda. Here's President Ojeda's approval rating at the beginning of April. His approval has jumped up significantly after the Puerto Rico statehood has been signed, his highest approval being amongst third-party supporters at plus 24% approval amongst them. GOP support has skyrocketed up to 19%. Dem support has jumped up to 48% disapproval, a lot higher than what it was before. This gives him a 15% approval amongst the country, a huge boost in approval for the president. Former New York Senator Kirsten Gillibrand has announced her second attempt at the presidency. She ran in 2024 and didn't get nowhere. It's interesting to see what she'll do this time, though. I have my speculations that she won't do well at all, considering she's no longer an incumbent senator who lost to a Republican. Here's President Ojeda's approval rating at the beginning of May. He's now bumped down to a -6% disapproval in the country, with he's starting to lose support amongst all sides again. We don't know as to why this is occurring. Possibly, again, gridlock is very common in his administration, as many supporters of Ojeda claim that he would get more done if politicians weren't corrupt and greedy. However, it is what it is. His approval at the beginning of June, is only continuing to drop, as he is now at a 10% disapproval amongst the country. However, I argue that he is still safe, considering he is 8 points above where he won the popular vote by, so I think he's still in good hands. His approval at the beginning of July has dropped a little bit, has gone up 1%. This is due to his response to hurricane season. His response to that was considered pretty good, as well as the economy being pretty solid throughout his administration. So he's starting to see a small tick in support. Health Secretary Alex Azar to resign. This is a very unexpected one, but most people are saying this is due to him just wanting to retire. And so he's being replaced by another former health secretary. This time, Tom Price is named to return back to his post and back in the health department. President Ojeda's approval rating has dropped yet again, this time to 15% disapproval nationwide. He's underwater amongst Democrats at 70% disapproval. Amongst Republicans, he has a 4% approval rating, and amongst third-party voters, he has a 22% approval rating. Mark Esper has resigned from the energy post. This is because due to a scandal that has broke out due to his work in the Trump administration, that he had lied to the president multiple times, giving him wrong information, as well as not sending out the National Guard when he had asked him to. So that is why he is resigning, and this was due to Ojeda's request. And President Ojeda has named Defense Deputy Secretary Kathleen Hicks to become the Secretary of the Energy. Tom Price has been confirmed to become the Health Secretary by the Senate. He will serve another stint as the Health Secretary, which confirmed by the Senate. It was a very narrow vote. 53 senators voted to confirm, while 47 said no. Actually, scratch that. 55 confirmed. Both Puerto Rico senators who were appointed by the current governor voted to confirm him. Here's President Ojeda's approval ratings at the beginning of September. His approval is starting to go back up a little bit. He has a plus-minus, he's an even approval amongst Republicans, a 50% disapproval amongst Democrats, and a plus 18% approval amongst third-party voters, giving him a 43% approval rating, 43% approve, 55% disapprove, 12% disapproval across the country. Kathleen Hicks has been confirmed to become the Energy Secretary by the Senate. This one's actually a pretty lopsided vote, as 72 senators voted to confirm her, compared to 36 senators. So, 36, and these are all Republicans that voted against her. Here's President Ojeda's approval rating at the beginning of October. As you can see, he is starting to lose support yet again, due to the gridlock amongst himself and Congress, as they do not get along, despite McConnell and MacArthur's oath. However, they are no longer together. Schumer is now the majority leader. However, there is gridlock between Schumer and House Speaker McCarthy, which is very controversial with Americans. Justice Henry McMaster, the Associate Justice of the Supreme Court, has passed away at age 79. Many Democrats were expecting this to happen. They called it back when during his hearings that he wanted to make it long on the court, and Ojeda said just confirm him anyway, and the Democrats ended up being right. and now Ojeda has to pick a new justice to replace McMaster with, which we don't know whether Democrats will allow that or not, considering he's already appointed 5 judges so far. Justices. Maryland Governor Daniel Cox has been named to replace Henry McMaster on the Supreme Court. Used to be a very controversial figure. He's been governing very moderate, very left-wing moderate so far as a Republican. However, this may be due to the blue nature of Maryland. However, many Democrats are signaling that they would vote for Cox for the nomination if it got to there. But it seems like it's going to get there as the hearings are beginning very shortly. So Daniel Cox has been named to replace McMaster on the Supreme Court. Here's President Ojeda's approval rating before the 2027 off-year elections, just tomorrow, by the way. And he has a -15 disapproval, a 15% disapproval amongst the country, with 41% of voters supporting him. However, we don't know if these people would also vote for him. We would assume they would, so we'll just have to wait and see. It is now election night in America, November 2nd, 2027. We have the 2027 off-year elections with 3 gubernatorial races. It's now 7 p.m. and on the East Coast, so we can now make some calls out of the Kentucky governor race. It's currently too close to call. Governor Andy Beshear, or former Governor Andy Beshear, is running for a second non-consecutive term, trying to pull a Grover Cleveland, but this time on the, governor level in Kentucky against current Governor Daniel Cameron, who has been a very polarizing character, very weak on the crime issue, as crime is the #1 issue in this race, as there have been multiple riots to occur in Kentucky since Daniel Cameron has become the governor, and so he's lost favor with a lot of Kentuckians due to that. But Daniel Cameron is still leading in this race. It's now 7:30 p.m. We now have an update out of the Kentucky governor race, and Andy Beshear is currently leading very narrowly. This is a very narrow lead for Andy Beshear. However, it's very close. Daniel Cameron could very easily overtake Beshear. Again, we'll just have to wait and find out. It's now 8 p.m. and the following states have poll closings. We actually have a state call as well as a call for Mississippi, as it is too close to call. Governor Jim Hood, who beat out controversial, scandal-plagued Governor Tate Reeves in 2023, is running for re-election to a second term. However, he is expected to do poorly, as Thomas Duff is currently who is a businessman who had both Ojeda and Trump's endorsement. Thomas Duff is currently leading Hood by about 6 points currently. We have a call out of the Kentucky governor race, as Andy Beshear will flip this seat back to blue. He will serve his second non-consecutive term as governor. Andy Beshear has been re-elected as the next governor of Kentucky. It is now 8:30 p.m. We have it's poll closing time for Arkansas. However, we have a call out of the state of Mississippi's governor race, and we can project that businessman Thomas Duff will defeat Jim Hood to flip Mississippi's gubernatorial seat back to red. Thomas Duff will be elected the governor of Mississippi. It is now 9 p.m. on the East Coast. We have some poll closes out of our final final state that needs to be called, Louisiana, and it is currently too close to call, as Governor Eddie Raspone is currently kind of essentially tied with LaToya Cantrell. This is the runoff election between these two. It's kind of tied right now, but Eddie Raspone, the governor, is currently leading right now. Many people are saying he's been weak on a lot of the issues, especially the hurricane that just came through in New Orleans that was very similar to Katrina, as well as immigration issues. It is now 10 p.m. We now have an update out of that race, and of course Louisiana's governor race is still too close to call. However, these are the numbers right now, too close to call, and we can actually make a projection now actually out of Louisiana. Scratch that, it is not too close to call. We can make a call. LaToya Cantrell will win this seat. She will gain, and this will be another gain for Democrats. It was a flip last year, now it's flipping again. Louisiana's governor race will go blue. LaToya Cantrell will be elected the governor of Louisiana. Daniel Cox has been confirmed to the Supreme Court by the Senate. It was a very bloody confirmation battle. 53 senators voted to confirm him, which was phenomenal. 53 senators voted to confirm, which is enough for him to get passed, as you now need 51 senators to Actually, technically, you need 52 senators to vote to confirm. So it was very close. Like if one senator had voted to, or two senators voted against him, then it would have gone to the vice president, which would have been very controversial. However, two senators, and we had a big old mismatch, like a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats. It was a very weird group of senators that voted to confirm or voted against him, which most of them were establishment politicians anyway, so it was to be expected. HUD Secretary Marcia Fudge to resign after serving close to 10 years as the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. She has now decided to retire, and Sean Donovan, the former HUD Secretary under the Obama administration, has been named to replace her on the bench. It is the last month of the year, and we now have Ojeda's approval rating sitting at 14% disapproval, and he has a 42% approval amongst the country. This may be due to the big gains in Kentucky and Louisiana, which gives him more support, as he supported Beshear and Cantrell. He also supported Thomas Duff, so we got all three of his preferred candidates elected, which is good news for him. As you can see here, he has he's above water for GOP support and as well as third-party support, but he's underwater with Democrat support. Sean Donovan has been confirmed as the HUD Secretary by the Senate. It was a vote of 56 senators voted to confirm him, on 56 to 46, very close. Both Puerto Rico senators actually voted against him, citing that the HUD department has not done anything for the state of Puerto Rico since it has, been there, much to the chagrin of Richard Ojeda, who, after the nomination, he admitted that the Puerto Rico senators were correct and that the HUD department needs to get their shit together. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Go follow my Twitter at Chaotic Politics. This is the Chaotic One saying peace.